are back. A2TP podcast, episode 99, 1 from 100, 99. We are back. It's your boy International Walt.
It's your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
And we are back for another week for another episode of A2TP podcast. And you guys can catch us on A2TPodcast.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, TikTok, Breaker, and Spotify. So let's get right into it. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm alive, so that's a blessing. Not that I shouldn't be, but mentally I'm probably well, you said I can't go below 7.5?
Yeah, that's been the ongoing rule.
So let's take it there. I'll say I'm a 7.5. Work?
Yep.
Work is probably an 8. Just hectic, busy. Financially, a 10 as always, no complaints.
Physically,
I'm probably feeling like an 8 as well. Yeah, probably feeling like an 8. Yeah. That's that. How are you?
as good as I can be. I'm 7.5 all across the board.
Oh wow.
So that's just
financially too?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep. Just 7.5 all the way across the board.
Your body?
Yep. Everything. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. Yeah.
Okay. That's about humbug.
Yep.
What's your wows and woes for this week?
Wows and woes is just the holiday season. It's upon us. I really, really like Christmas.
Have you been listening to your B101?
Yes, I have. Getting myself in the spirit of Christmas and just feeling it. Coming on slowly, but that's my wow, is that it's the holiday season. I really like Christmas. It makes me think about my Nana. And I like Christmas.
I expected to see more Christmas lights than I've seen so far, but maybe people just slow to get moving. In our old neighborhood, nobody put up Christmas lights except for us. It's a few people that we've seen, but I just expected to see more, but whatever. Well, I guess we'll see how that goes. What's your woe?
It might be a this weekend thing. My woe is that my man Eddie at work's mother passed on Monday, and it's just been grim. He's devastated by it, and this week was the anniversary of his son's passing, also all tied in this week. So yeah, he's just been out of it, and it affects everybody who works with him, myself included. It's sad for him. My heart hurts for him. I see the stuff that he go through daily, and Eddie, I just want you to know I love you, and I hope things get well for you soon.
Yeah,
so that's my woe.
To Eddie and his family. It's weird. I always think like the only thing in life that we know is guaranteed is death, and I think that's probably the hardest thing for everyone to accept. Like, no matter how much we know that it's guaranteed, it's never easy. So definitely condolences to Eddie and his family.
Yep. Eddie's mama and his son. I'm sure they're heavy on his heart this time of year.
And I mean, let alone it being the holiday season, that doesn't make it any better to have that on your heart with grief and sadness. So,
being as though them two people are absent from his holiday.
Right.
And I could just imagine now and moving forward in future years, it's like, those days are just regular days to you now. Like, fuck a Thanksgiving, fuck a Christmas. To him, I'm sure he would feel like that. And right now, I couldn't even tell him otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say in that sense.
Sometimes, you know what? The other day I seen somebody post something that said, like, when you know your friends are going through something, sometimes there is nothing to say, but just to let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you. And this was more so related. I know you and Eddie see each other every day. This was more so related to like texting somebody who you may not see every day. And it's like when somebody is going through something, you may not know what to say, but just to say, I'm thinking about you. You're on my mind. Hope everything is well. Or I know everything isn't well, but I'm thinking about you. people want to be thought about. So yeah, like you said, it's nothing. When that moment is nothing to say but to be there, and I know you have been being there for him.
No, and just trying to show him the silver light within the situation. It's not like I've been through a lot of death and can understand that, but he did get to go see her on Saturday and laugh and joke with her, when none of his other siblings have that experience. So, I mean, if you hold on to that, you can hold on to that. Some people might say, fuck that, but that's the only silver line I see in the situation, is that he did get to spend a day with her before she passed.
Yeah.
But being close to your parent like that is sad, and damn, I just hate to see my friend hurt like that. It really bothers. It bothers his son Danny, and it bothers me as a supervisor, because I see it in his spirit. So just Eddie, I love you, and I condolences to your family. I know you're going through a lot right now, and just keep your head up, bro. You always got me to talk to. We not discussed it, but talked about something to this effect about the perils of having a business in the hood. Mm-hmm. And some people get money. You come from the hood, you want to go back, you want to give back, you want to open a store or something like that, or buy a house, fix it up, maybe buy your house that you grew up in, your auntie's house, whatever. But and that's like the benefits is like buying your old auntie's house or your old mom's house and living there, or fixing it up and renting it out, trying to just give somebody a new opportunity to live there and be in a house or something like that. And you have a new experience in being a landlord and owning some real estate. But what's some of the pitfalls in having a home in the hood, as far as like families like running down your property, or break-ins, or like crackheads breaking your walls and stealing your copper, your appliances? We know the worst neighborhoods got the cheapest prices as far as buying houses. So, and then what about if you buy a house and it's on a block that's supposed to have 50 houses and it's only 2, and the blight is there? So what's your thoughts on just the perils of having a real estate investment in the hood?
I mean, I think it's circumstantial, because nowadays the hood, especially a lot of areas that we knew growing up in that were definitely considered a hood, aren't anymore. I mean, in our minds they still are, but the demographics of those areas have changed. When you think about, like, there's homes at like around Frankfurt and Lehigh for $500,000. I mean, you think about 20 years ago.
It's still the hood, though. Regardless of what's put there, the hood hasn't changed. I mean, there's a few nice stores and maybe a supermarket or two, but have they run all the old people out? Well,
that's what I was going to say. I mean, 20 years ago, you would have never imagined anybody looking to buy a house there. 20 years later, now it's mixed. It's becoming gentrified. 20 years from now, somebody will probably never believe that it was anything other than what it probably will be. So is it still the hood now? Yeah, because of what we know it to be. And because, to your point, everybody hasn't been moved out. But I think eventually, I don't want to even say unfortunately, but we'll come to that point where we will see some areas that have the face of those areas will be changed forever.
You think Kensington will be cleaned up in our lifetime?
Kensington is a different situation, because I think it's no, to answer your question. I think it's too big of a problem. The only way I think that they would clean up Kensington is kind of similar to what they did like around the Badlands. And I know that kind of runs into each other, but you remember, like, there are certain blocks that were completely demolished, where it was just like blocks that were empty lots,
right.
And now they
all of if no houses was there, they moved people out and knocked the block
down.
And
then they built up, now it's Northern Liberties, like Badlands, that has gone away, and now it's lofts and apartment buildings and that sort of thing. So I think, but Kensington is, I think, block by block they'll try, but you have too big of a problem. Kensington is known nationwide.
Right.
So
That's
I
what
think
mean,
it's
across the
too
country.
big of a problem to have it to ever have it completely changed, like an area like the Badlands that kind of, flipped over. Even when you look at like areas like Fishtown and stuff like that, that was kind of like the white people hood back in the day.
Very racist.
Yeah, but we know, like, you've done working properties around there where these are hundreds of thousands of dollar homes and one floor homes, not even a whole house. So, you look at smaller areas like that where they kind of bit at it. But Kensington, I think, is too big of a problem.
And speaking about that, the girl house who I used to work in down there, she moved because of break-ins. So it's like the hood is the hood, and it always will be the hood, regardless of what you put there. I think because of the people. And what do you do with the displacement of people just because you made rent higher? Like, some people will be out on the street. Just think about when we was young. We come from a neighborhood that had, like, before they had gentrification, we had a black cleaners, we had a black laundromat, we had a black flower shop, we had black bars, we had black corner store, we had a black a deli, and then over time, not in our generation, because we respected that and we was growing up and people respected it in our neighborhood. But the hood is the hood. When we moved out, we heard all those black people were either sold out, displaced, bought out, or robbed. Like, when I was growing up, you never even bothered the laundromat man or the laundromat lady because they were pillars of the community. Like, they had a laundromat, everybody went there. But later on, as the next generation was coming up, those people got robbed, those laundromats got burned down. Like, it was beef with the pillars of the community. So, I mean, just because you put up a Whole Foods in some apartment buildings, that don't mean they're not selling drugs outside down the street at the corner.
I think one thing that people have to still remember is you're absolutely correct. You can do all of those things, and you can gentrify for good, bad, or indifferent reasons and change the face of the community. But people have to still remember, you're in a city. There's robberies everywhere. Beverly Hills ain't the hood, but people's houses get robbed. Malibu ain't the hood. People's houses get robbed. Manhattan
get robbed in Calabasas.
Manhattan. You got certain places like, so I think, and not to say it was her fault that she got robbed, but I think what some people forget sometimes, they get too comfortable and forget, like, I'm still in the city. Forget that. I'm still a resident in any home, in any city. We live in a beautiful neighborhood. I watch crime statistics and stuff like that. And it is not a high, it's very minimal crime in our area. Even in our last house, over the last 14 years we were there was one murder in 14 years in our town. But we lock our doors every night. We had a security system. We're not just living frivolously. And I think sometimes our fairer skinned counterpart humans, they move into these areas, and because they pay a high mortgage, because, it's like, oh, this free, nice area, they forget they are still in the city. So it's not like, oh, it's an anomaly where they're gentrifying these areas and they're getting robbed. Not everybody. Robberies are always going to happen. I don't care how nice the area you make it, you're never going to stop people from being robbed. Around like 2nd and Walnut, those areas that, we used to like to walk down beautiful streets, Pine Street, like, people get robbed. It's going to happen.
I mean, just think about the murders from the UPenn people, and you talk about a hospital, and just think about Temple. Like, that's directly smack in the middle of the hood. Like, Temple is a hospital in our city that's in the hood, and it's a college, a campus down the street from it on Cecil B. Moore. So it's like, it's going to be robberies, it's going to be crime. But let's just say you are us and you want to get into real estate, and we're looking in the paper, you want to be a landlord, if that's something you want to do. Oh, we see an $8,000 house, we want to buy that, and it's on Oakdale Street, on the 2300 block of Oakdale Street. And we just like, damn, it's 6 houses on the block, they trapping on the corner, this is a bargain. But how can we buy a house like that, either sit on it and pay a mortgage and wait for gentrification, which is something you don't want to do, or you buy it and try to fix it and sell it? But every new material you take in there, drywall, copper pipes, all that kind of shit gets stolen. The windows get broken out. That shit gets stolen. Like it's kind of hard to be that in neighborhoods like the hood.
Well, so a couple things. All money isn't good money. And I don't think, and cheap money doesn't mean that it's going to be profitable either. Like you said, a house that's $8,000, yeah, it sounds like a bargain. But I think, and this is one of the reasons why, as much as we've talked about real estate, we haven't ever pulled the trigger on it yet, is because you have to be educated about not just like we know the city, we know what's the bad blocks, we know the good, like we know the city, but not only that, you have to be educated from a real strategic planning standpoint, but also common sense. Bless you.
Thank you.
I do think that it can, bless you.
Thank you.
I do think that it can make sense to buy a home if you're able to get it at a bargain and sit on it and wait for gentrification, but you have to kind of have some insight into how gentrification works
and when it's going to take place.
When it's going to
You don't want
place,
to hold on to a more, even if it's a $600 mortgage on
right,
an $8,000 house. You don't want to pay that for 2 years. For
but
gentrification.
not only that, you have to think about it too. What drives people to these quote unquote bad areas that they're trying to change good? It has to be easily accessible to center city areas, highways, hospitals, universities. Unfortunately, where we grew up at in Strawberry Mansion, you figure the closest biggest street is 33rd Street. There aren't any hospitals near where we grew up. There is no highways are close. It ain't fast to get to 76 or 95.
Nope.
There are no colleges or universities. So I wouldn't look to invest in that area where we grew up. But there are some areas where you think about it, it's like, you if you pay attention to the city planning and the urban development, and it kind of like, you know how you can look at a map, like a
it's like
what do you call it, like time lapse?
Yeah.
If you were to look at a map of the city and see, I'm sure you would see it looking like it's spreading like a web, but it's probably going around some areas that are untouched because it's just not economically feasible. It's all about money.
And it also stops and may stop here and pick up 7 miles down the road doing some other neighborhood.
Yeah. Or it may stall for a couple years and then pick up too, based on our economic status
grants
in the
and stuff like that. All that stuff is being built up through grants through the state and city. So it's not like, it's a group of people that's funding all this building. Like, it's grants and stuff, and as long as that stuff is coming through, they'll build. But when it doesn't, it puts a halt on stuff. I mean, we see half-built apartments that's sitting that we know are going to be nice in a neighborhood, but they're not working there because I guess the money ain't there.
And you got to think to that old saying, if they build it, they will come. That ain't necessarily true. If they build it where people want to be, they will come.
Right.
Like, so, to circle back to your question, I think it's still circumstantial. Where's the house? What does the 5-year, 10-year development plan look like for that area?
I think that's us.
One thing you said about like on a block that's like, let's say you get a house really cheap on a block where the area is messed up and they really ain't doing much development around here. Can you charge rent and make it profitable? Maybe, but the hassle and the stress that probably goes along with it.
The demographic that you're going to potentially have in that house. It's not like you're going to get people who actually care about the new product and going to take care of it. You're going to get people from the hood who, because you can't highball the rent.
Right.
So it's got to be adequate to where the house is. And let's not even talk about us. If it's just two new people who don't know that they might need to be educated, and all money ain't good money, but if it's an $8,000 house and it's like, bam, I can flip it in 6 months and sell it for 55. 8 going to 55 is kind of good. So it's enticing to do so when you think, oh, if I did one, I could do another one. But the second one you do is they robbing it every night. They breaking your fucking windows out every night. You can't even get finished because as soon as you put something in, they rip it out.
We had an ex-family member, and I'll just leave it at that, who had kind of mentioned a game plan like where they played that real estate game. And I guess you have to be knowledgeable of how to get in and get out real fast, but their goal was never to do any huge improvements. It was, I'm gonna buy this house for $8,000, sit in it for a couple weeks, maybe
sell it for 12.
Exactly. Which, I mean, you figure, okay, I made $4,000 in a month, and that's just supplemental income, and you might have did that with 3 houses, so I made an extra $12,000 in a month. That's not bad, but again, that's something that, you know, you just...
You have to keep doing.
Yeah.
It has to be like a hobby. Like, you got to do that like 20 to 25 times a year.
And you got to be like one of those people that, it kind of puts me in the mindset of like when, what's the movie? Is it Boiler Room? No. What's the movie with Giovanni Ribisi, the stock people that was the fake stock people?
That's
Boiler Room.
Yeah.
Okay. And not in the same premise.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, not in the same premise, but one of them people where you got to be fast, moving in and out real fast. You can't sit, you can't wait too long. You got to be up looking for deals. Like, so that's like a different lifestyle to do that. But to your point, you buy a house and you want to put a little bit of money in it. You think to yourself, okay, I put new windows and they busted out in the morning. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, you put 8 new windows in the house, 2 in the front, 1 big one in the middle, side, the back, and then they come in and rip them out. Or you put in some hot water pipes and cold water pipes, drywall, put your towel up, and come back and that shit ripped out because they wanted the copper.
How do you
fuck the towel and the drywall.
Though?
Yeah, you gotta have security.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. You gotta have security there when you're building and loading in materials, because 3 o'clock in the morning they'll steal that shit.
Do you think like there. If you put, let's say you buy a house, the first thing you install is security cameras. Do you think that would help?
I think it would help, but I mean, I don't think it would stop them from stealing because they know you're not from around here. So
and they still and they going and you covered up.
It may take you a minute to get here. So if we know directly what we're going after, we can get in and get out. Maybe knock your cameras down. Like, you know, we're stealing the shit. Yeah,
it's just one of them things, and I see a lot of I think one of the fallacies of social media is that, and I'll say I was kind of victim to this. It kind of made it look like it was easy. I mean, the real estate game, and you know, and I know, and I don't want to say easy like I was stupid about it, but I thought to myself,
what was the first guy we seen? That guy from San Antonio with the show that made it seem like flipping houses was easy. Like Armando.
Yeah.
Him. He came before all those flipping
he was
house
like,
shows.
yes, he was the first flipper.
Yep. And he made it seem like, damn, you can do this 20, 25 times a year. But again, he's a real estate agent. He's knowledge in that shit. And he made it seem like, you know, you can just pick it up.
You buy this $12,000 house. You put $12,000 worth of work in it. So now let's say you put $20,000 worth of work in it. That's $32,000. And then you sell it for $100,000. Yeah. And it's like, oh wow, that's all you got. And with him being a contractor, and again with social media too, but when you really look at it and you think about having to have the knowledge and having to think to yourself, what if inspections don't go the way they're supposed? What if I do get robbed in the middle of this?
What if something's wrong with the foundation? What if I gotta dig the ground up and do some like shit that I didn't budget for that cost $30,000 that you couldn't see in the beginning? You just couldn't see because the basement wasn't taken apart. So you go down there and take the drywall down or take some wood down and see a crack in the foundation this big, you gotta fix that.
I will say, shout out to all, because I know a few people who have properties and are landlords, like not like full, but like as there's like, you know, they own their own home and they got a couple properties. You know, that's something that's very admirable to me. I do pray that one day we do dip our hand in that pond. But I know that it isn't easy. One of the things I learned, again, because of that false perception that social media gave me, it's not necessarily something that you can do for cheap. And I think that's what the fallacy was. I was thinking, oh, you can have, like, you know, what in my mind, I was thinking, oh, we could take this money, probably get 3 houses. You remember like get 10 houses for $150,000? That wasn't my thought, but I'm thinking, oh, we could take
idea.
this money, get 3 houses, where technically, we take this money, that might be 1 house. And you might not necessarily make money the first year, but it's an investment. So I do think that it is something that's possible, but it ain't for the weak. And
no, and I just don't think it works if, like, now we can take money and buy a house, and it would have to be a substantial amount of money to buy a house in Glenside and fix it up and flip it, because we know it ain't gonna get robbed every night. It's a affluent area. But to buy a house on Oakdale Street, and it's a row home.
Hating on Oakdale.
I'm just saying, or Tioga Street. It's just like, damn, like, why y'all still in my shit every night, or why I gotta pay somebody now to park here and just watch the house every night just while I'm working. Like, I'm just coming here every day to put walls up and paint and do shit like that. And you even get kids coming and graffiti all over shit, and like write on stuff and pull up stuff just because, like, not even for a reason, just because it's new. Yeah. Like, it's just hard to do that. Another way that people give back and go back to the hood is, other than real estate, is store ownership. So, I mean, we never talked or thought about that, but having a store, the pitfalls of that is getting robbed. People want shit on consignment. If you want to be that type of store where you good with your customers and stuff, they may need something. You may help a few people out in the neighborhood that come there, some families or whatever. And some people don't pay their debt. And also, when stores get robbed, that's different from having real estate where your shit gets stolen. Stores get robbed, you can lose your life. Yeah. So you can be in a robbery and somebody kill your ass. That's different from them stealing your copper pipes. So it's kind of difficult now, even in the city, to like buy a bodega and have a store.
There is nothing enticing to me, and shout out to all the people that do it, have done it, will do it. There is nothing enticing to me at all about having any type of retail establishment in any hood in America. I mean, I only know the hood in Philly, because my thing is this. I do not think that people have enough respect. They don't care. They don't care how hard you work. They don't care, that you from the same hood. They don't care that, you trying to give jobs to the community. They don't care. And of course, I'm not speaking for all, but it's too many that just don't care. They don't have that same level of respect. Like you said, growing up, all of those black businesses in our neighborhood, and we just knew them. Like, we knew the people by name, Mr. This, Miss This, and you just didn't think to bother them. And then that next generation came up and they putting guns to them, and it's like,
setting their places on fire.
Yeah, what the hell? There is, again, nothing enticing about that.
The money is, because I know a few people, Latino people who have family who have stores, and it's like, the bodega open at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 in the morning for kids for school. I think they close at 9, maybe 10. So what's that, 12, 14-hour day?
You said 8 to 10? Yeah, that's 14 hours.
So you got a 14-hour day. I heard you can make in a bodega anywhere from 11 to 15,000 a week. So it's you talking about,
you might have to kill a person.
You're talking about 60,000 a month, and a lot of those people send money back to their families, you don't even know that they're getting that kind of money. But them bodegas make a lot of money.
But think about in New York City, the people, the video that we saw where they came in there, and he was a grandpa, trying to ride. And my thing is, the level of security that you have to have is possible. It can just be built into, your salary.
You can put an armed guard in it, but then it makes the attraction of your store look different. If somebody's stopping there, it's like when I go in Wawa's in the city. Yeah. It startles me disturbed as soon as I go in and see a guard. Because it's like I go to Wawa's in Jersey and it's no guard. I've gone to Wawa's since they opened. There's never been a guard. But then you go in ones in the city, and it's a guard, and he ain't got no gun. She ain't got no gun. Ain't nothing. She ain't gonna do nothing when the dude's coming in with the guns. But it's just like, damn, you got a person standing in Wawa because of what? They gonna steal the chips and shit. They gonna steal coffee. But yeah, or they might just rob the store.
Ruckus. And yeah, I mean, again, so that's why for me, the risk outweigh the reward. And it might sound crazy because making $60,000 a month, that can be an
life changing.
Yeah. But to think to myself,
I can't even think what's 60 times 12 right now. I know what's that?
60 times 12. 24, 48 plus 96.
It's almost $100,000 a year you're making, but you're in a store 12 hours a day.
No, that's 960,000.
Oh, so that's almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, 960 grand. You're making bank in that store, but you're in there for 12 hours a day. You're opening and closing, so you don't have time. And I heard you have to open every day.
720,000.
Okay, well, still,
that's still
almost three-quarters of $1 million.
Yeah, sorry.
And that's a lot of money to be making in a corner store where you sell sandwiches. And I'm talking about the bodegas that sell the sandwiches and the Pampers and all this other shit.
Like a mini mart type of place.
You go up the aisle and come down and you can get everything you need.
But you think to yourself, too.
The milk, $8, but, it's convenient for you.
I don't know if the anxiety would allow you to, and I feel like either the anxiety won't allow you to enjoy the life that you're building, or you'll get too comfortable. Because in my mind, I'm automatically thinking, okay, I need an armed guard to open the store. I need an armed guard when I'm closing the store. I need somebody to follow me.
Do you want to sit behind bulletproof glass? Do you want one of them type of stores where it's like,
and follow me home to make sure that somebody else ain't
here.
following me home? Like they started doing the Asian store owners, following it up to Montgomery County, catching them leaving their stores in the city and robbing them. It's for me, that is not anything that I've been enticed. And it's a shame because you think to yourself, damn, it really could. That's a different revenue stream that unfortunately too many Black people don't look into. But I think because we know.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a sense of knowledge to know, like, we would rob it.
What's the lesson the man was teaching? F around and find out. We know if you F around, you will find out what can happen. Yeah. And we don't want no parts of that. And it's unfortunate that, and it ain't just us that rob stores. I know that for sure. Unfortunately, it is us in our own communities most of the time that are doing the robberies.
We're in proximity
White
to the
people
store,
ain't coming into the hood robbing the bodegas.
No.
White people ain't coming into the hood, sticking up the barbershops or whatever they doing. So it's us robbing us. And because we're aware, it's like, nah, I ain't taking on that risk.
And just to think, like, I love a barbershop. That would be something great to invest in if you had awesome barbers. But who the fuck would want to invest in a barbershop where you have to place it in a demographic where the Black folks get haircuts, so you want to put it around Black people, but that's like a setup to get robbed.
You know what? I just had
for somebody, for everybody to get robbed, for barber. Like, it's tons of TikTok videos of robbers of a barber having his gun, having to shoot at people. I seen a video of a guy who came in and shot the guy in the chair while the barber was cutting his hair.
And we seen that on First 48.
Yeah, like it go down in the barbershop.
Do you think it would work with it if you did a no cash establishment? So people know no cash. Now, that's not to say you don't know what's in people's pockets when they come in there, but you can't.
You can do a Cash App thing or a Venmo thing. Lots of people have that.
That's what I mean. Like, in this facility, we do not accept cash payments. So whether it's you pay with a swipe card or you pay by, with some kind of electronic payment system, but we don't pay with cash. Do you think that would work, or people would still try it?
I think people would. I don't think they would rob it. I think they would rob the people in the shop. So if it's a packed Friday night and it's Friday evening and it's 20 people in the shop, 20 people can get laid down and robbed. It's not about the shop money. It's about what everybody has on them. So it still can get robbed. It's not about we coming in here to rob the barbershop. We're coming in here to rob the people in the barbershop.
What about you? I'm just thinking, like, you put a sign on the door that says, please leave your belongings in the car. This is a no cash. I'm just thinking, it's a shame that you got to go to that extreme. But I've
never thought of that, but you can have a decal in the window to say this is a Cash App establishment or a Cash App and Venmo establishment or something like that.
Or this is a no cash facility.
Yeah, you could do that. But again, that's not going to stop people
from robbing the patrons.
Yeah, because of the demographic. You're going to have dudes in there. The barbershop is sitting around talking shit. Like, guys might be lingering outside waiting on their haircut. Like, it could be outside smoking. Like, a bunch could go on. So some barbershops have crack games. So it go down in the barbershop.
I will say the only sort of retail establishment that I thought about at one point would be an idea, and not in the hood though, would be a hair store. because at our now where we live now, we don't have a shortage, which
But
is
see, that might be a problem for you because you can't get to the hair like the Asian people can.
yeah. I mean,
You can't
I
get
think
to the
unfortunately
wholesale
for
people
black
like the Asian
it
people
would
because it's
cost
them.
more. Yeah, it would cost more for a black hair supply beauty supply store. The prices would be more, unfortunately for us, because we don't have those connects.
Right.
But you think about it, people may still support because of it being a black. Now I'm not talking about, because my thing is this: black owned or not, my money matters too. So if I can get something at a different establishment for $7 and at your store is $17, I can't spend an extra $10 just to support because it's black. But if it's $7 there and $9 at your store, and it's not like out of my way, then I would make that sacrifice because it is black owned. But I think there definitely would be a disparity in the prices because we don't have that connect.
Right. So yeah, those are just two ways that you want to give back in real estate and store ownership, like going back to your hood and some of the reasons probably why people don't.
One thing I will say, salute to those people that do. I think the most prevalent, and I think you would agree, black owned establishments we see in the hood are salons and barbershops, but hair salons. But that's tricky too. It's scary, and a lot of salons now do accept like electronic payments for that fear.
I think what helps is appointment based stuff too. Not having walk-ins and people just around, having appointment based and being able to control. And COVID helped with that too, because it was like, I only want 4 people, 4 appointments or whatever, like, and you can have a certain amount of people in the shop.
And not waiting.
And so shout out, before I even get to this part, shout out to all the black businesses who are up and running and who give, immaculate service and top of the line customer service, and your business is thriving. Shout out to all of y'all. But there is some black businesses out there who maybe not quite up and all way running. Maybe insurance ain't all right. Maybe customer service ain't right. And some of these business we come in contact with where it's like, why does this take 3 weeks to get where I can get it over here for a week? And this is the, white folks. But if I deal with you because your system ain't running right, it take a little longer. So I gotta have a little grace. Or you don't have somebody picked that should be at the register because they don't have good customer service. They don't deal with people nice and they ratchet. So your first 6 months I come there, you don't realize this ratchet person is dealing with all the people. Or something ain't being cooked right. Something ain't right because you don't have all your footing underneath you, all your foundation underneath you. So how about that? Because there is businesses out there, and I'm not trying to down anybody or speak specifically about anybody, but we do run into businesses that's like, damn, man, I came to support you because you black or you Latino, and you just ain't right. You like, it ain't right yet.
So one of the things that I thought about, right, and it's sad because, again, we do this to us. We set such a high bar for our people, and we don't always extend grace. Now, I'm not saying we should forgive foolishness. However, there are circumstances sometimes where, like you said, if something takes 3 weeks at the black-owned business and maybe only a week at the white-owned business, maybe the white-owned business has been in business longer and they have extra capital where they can expedite certain services. Maybe this black-owned business may not have the connect at the manufacturing plant like the white-owned business does, or, maybe if it's a pickup service, the black-owned business only has 1 van and the white owned service has 4, so they're able to do things. So I think in those areas we should be mindful if we know. And I think as business owners, maybe sometimes instead of just having that expectation that, because I'm your sister, because I'm your brother, because we look alike, that grace should just be extended. Communication goes a long way. But as black people, why is that we can go to, I'm going to just use Chick-fil-A, because 9.9 times out of 10 at Chick-fil-A you get good service. But they pissed me off last week. They pissed me off, but guess what? We're still going to go back to Chick-fil-A.
Because you have enough experience that says, I'm not going to get, even if you have one bad outing. I didn't like my service, I think, a couple times that we went a few weeks ago. But it was like, I've had enough good experiences here to know that this is an anomaly. This isn't a thing. And I'm not talking about those people who we should give grace to. I'm talking about those people who want to cut corners, who know like shit ain't right and you just having a business here. You wanted to get it off the ground fast or just be open and it just ain't right yet. You just don't have everything, whether it be low inventory or, like I said, not the right people. You just wanted to have a something in brick to say, this is my store.
Sometimes,
and you come in there and it's not the vibe of a store. It doesn't look like a store. Or, the reaction is, the experience isn't that of a store.
Sometimes I think,
Hold on, not to cut you off. Let's just say, like, around the corner, we just moved here not, a little less than a year ago, and we used to like the Spanish place around the corner. Now, that changed because one day I was in there and I heard the lady sitting down with an Asian man talking about bills and what she had to pay. This is the Latino lady. And then you go in there and it's like they got stuff written on the menu. You ask for it, they don't have it. Like those kind of small things, and then 2-3 weeks later, you see it's new people in there, and they changed the name and everything. But somebody else has the space now, and that person is white.
Oh,
so it's like they have other Spanish people in there, but the person who's like asking you, "Hey, how you doing? Do you want anything?" is white. But it's Spanish people working around them getting food and stuff. But it's like to see something like that turn over. It's like, damn. What happened?
I think it could be a couple of things. One, sometimes, like you said, we want to get a business off the ground. We have a great idea. We may not take the steps to educate ourselves or to have mentors to help guide us along. All we know, we probably came into some money, we saved some money, we got the capital to do it, but are we really prepared?
And shouldn't you know, I mean, as a grown person, that if I don't have all my ducks in line, this could fail. And especially when I'm putting my own damn money in it, I gotta be mindful that this could fail.
Some people think that,
and not just, I ain't using nobody else's money here. This is my money, and I don't want to get the right insurance. I don't want to get the right people. I just want to be up and running.
I mean, there are some things that are unexcusable, like bad customer service. I don't care what, revenue you had, what mentoring you had. I shouldn't have to, my expectations on great customer service shouldn't be wavered because, they're new, or like, that's just not something that should be a gray area. But there are other things that you kind of think to yourself, okay, you may extend a little grace, because a lot of times for us, we may not have the same resources. A lot of times with other cultures, there's some historical value that can be added from family and friends, etc., that may have done it previously, where for us, we meaning a black person, a black family, may be the first entrepreneurs that we know of that we can ask. And another thing, which is very sad, even if we do know somebody, too often people have like that crabs in a barrel mentality. So either they won't want to help us, or our pride may not allow us to ask for help because we think they're not going to help us. So, I mean, it's different factors. I do believe that, communication is key. Great customer service is key. People mess up. People make mistakes. There's a black business owner that I had ordered some items from, a pocketbook, and time had passed and more time, and I was like, okay. I went back because I wanted to read and make sure that I understood the policy, because sometimes you might have expectations of getting something and you realize, oh wow, it does say 14 business days, so you think to yourself, okay, that's like 3 weeks. So I went back and I knew like, it's been enough time. And when I reached out, she explained to me, long story short, she had like a shipping pile for UPS and a shipping pile for USPS, the postal service. My shipment had got placed in the wrong pile. Bam, I got it the next day. Very courteous. Now, I will say this. I ordered something again. Similar situation happened. She didn't use that same excuse, but when I reached out, it was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So that kind of let me know, you got some things to work. The problem. Yeah, you got some things to work on. But so I mean, again,
because I would say you gave grace, and then you said, "I'm gonna give you another play," because I understand that you might be, just starting off, and you might not have all your people. Here's another play. and you do the same thing. It's like, and humans are humans. They want what they want. When you got shit like Prime, the shit show up in 3 hours, 4 hours, people want what they want. And it's like, I'm not going to go over there and support that. It's going to take me 4 weeks to get my shirt. Yeah. And I can go to Amazon and get it in 10 hours if I pay an extra $6.
But let me tell y'all who, but again, it was I won't say my mistake, I didn't read. Beyonce gave me some bad customer service, but it probably was my fault. I ordered something in July and it came in October. But when I reached out, again, they were nice. They let me know it was a pre-order item, that it would be shipped within 13 weeks. And it did. I got it like exactly on time. But that was one of those things where communication is key on behalf of the customer and on behalf of the retailer. Another thing too.
How can you buy anything in 2022 and it takes 13 weeks to get there? I don't give a shit how big you are. I don't give a shit what you're selling. How can you buy anything in 2022 when shit happens like this?
I think what happened...
That's Stone Age time.
Yeah, I think what happened is they just kind of... I don't remember it being pre-order.
Like, your shit's going to come the next season, 13 weeks.
Yeah, I swear I don't remember it being pre-order, but they told me that it was. And by the time that I reached out to ask, because it was sold out, the information was no longer there. But I do not remember that. But when they told me, I thought to myself, I don't think I would have ordered it if I knew that. That is ridiculous. Like, who says item will be shipped within 13 weeks? Even if it said pre-order, I'm pretty sure they didn't give a time frame. Because I know me, and I probably would have said, hell no. But another thing, too, is a lot of times with small businesses, and this may be where we kind of...
Well, that's a pretty big business.
Well, I'm not talking about her
business. You're supporting Beyonce, but I'm sure some white folks are running are in there.
But no, I'm talking about in terms of other businesses. One of the things you mentioned is staffing. So we want to we're spending our own money that we saved and we're investing, and we want to make money, and sometimes we bite off more than we can chew. So we don't hire people to handle the packaging, to handle the phones, to handle the emails, and we try to do it ourselves. And if business goes good, that's a good thing, but then you run the risk of being overwhelmed where you can't do it all yourself. And it may be hard because we know family doesn't always work well together. When they say family and business don't mix, hopefully you might have somebody close to you, but if not, then you got to hire somebody. And what does that process looks like? So I think that we kind of stump ourselves in that capacity too sometimes.
And only, as of 2022, only 35% of small businesses within a year flop. But
wait, you said 35% flop?
Flop within a year.
Okay.
But it's like, let's just say the advice is you open this business, you open up a soap store, I don't know, and you put in your 401k money, $150,000 to get this store and inventory and shit like that, and it's all that you have in your savings, and it's like, this is but your plan, your advice, your advisor, or your class you took, let's just say you're like-minded like we would be, and you read up and you brushed up and you got educated, and they said, listen, you want to open this store, but you're not going to make money in the first 18 months. Like, you're just going to be open a store and build. Mm-hmm. Do you think some people, black folks in particular, go in with like, I can't do that? Like, I can't not make money for a year and just run this store, because if I see 45,000 came in and you're supposed to take that 45,000 and put it back into the store, some people be like, nah, I'm gonna put 15 back in and take this 20 because I need it. I need to see that I'm making money.
I think that's where the financial...
And then you fuck your whole plan up, because if you would have just stayed the course for the 18 months and not made money, who knows in 20 or 2 years what you would have made.
Sacrifice.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people are not willing
and discipline.
to do.
Not only sacrifice, discipline too.
Yeah, you might have a business and it might be doing really well. And you might, and I'm saying this facetiously, but seriously, you might have to ask your mom, can you move back in the basement until you overcome that hill, that whether it's 18 months or whatever. But that's a sacrifice you have to make. Or you might have to say, you know what? not like to get a repo, but like, all right, I'm gonna turn this car back in, and so I won't have a car note, and maybe just catch SEPTA or whatever for a minute.
Ubers.
So do whatever, but the sacrifice a lot of people are not willing to make. And hopefully for people starting businesses, that will come from a financial advisor to say, let's just say you're gonna start a business and they say you need $250,000 to start this business. In your mind, you should think to yourself, you know what? That means I really need $350,000 because I got to still live.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can't take all my money to put into this, let me have some reserve, because if I'm paying attention, I'm not going to make money, but I still need to be able to live to do something.
And if your business plan says, okay, you're putting in $250,000 and this is a 3 to 5 year plan, and your 5th year is when you're going to start seeing profit, you got to be able to get to them 60 months. Like she's saying, you got to be able to live and still have some type of lifestyle where you're not just like, you don't have anything.
And let me just say this too. And I don't know this from personal experience because that ain't my thing yet. But entrepreneurialism is not for the weak, and it ain't for everybody. Mm-mm. Like, it's a lot to do. It's okay. And guess what? Entrepreneurs need the people that have a 9 to 5. That's one thing with social media that, again, a gift and a curse. It has promoted a lot of entrepreneurialism, and it has enticed a lot of people to take that route, and a lot of people have been successful, and that's great. But people need to also understand that it really isn't for everybody, and it's okay if you realize it ain't for you.
And if you're an entrepreneur, which I heard an entrepreneur, they say this the other day, what you don't realize is that you're going to work more hours than your 9 to 5. If you want your business to succeed, you're going to work more hours than your 9 to 5. Because you're not going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but your goal every day is going to be to hit benchmarks, hit goals, do stuff to further your business. So you may be working 12, 16 hours networking or being places and doing shit. That's more than your 9 to 5. You may have to do that for days on end until you get the right connections. But that's more than your 9 to 5. You was only working 8 hours a day. Now you're working 15, 16 hours a day and no check.
Or you might still, I know someone who we used to work together. She still has that job. But she also opened a daycare center, which is doing well. But like you said, it can take some time before you see a business turn a profit. But you think to yourself, especially if you have a family, you still need benefits. You need that stability of the 9 to 5. And then she also has a separate like HR consulting firm. So these are 3 different revenue streams. But that 9 to 5 is like the foundation that everything else is hinged on until she's ready to release that, to fully go into that. And it's, I can't imagine the lack of sleep that she probably gets, or, just what her time management is like, but she's doing it. And that's, again, sacrifice that a lot of people ain't willing to take, or that they just don't have it in them to give. A salute to those people that do, and do it well, make it look good, even though it may be hard as hell. It's an awesome thing when it works.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure it's an awesome feeling. So the perils of having things in the hood, some of the not so much the perils, but just the downside. Peril is a strong word, but just the downsides of having some things in the hood, trying to reach back and have real estate or store ownership.
And I think you can do it.
Oh yeah, it can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just it's levels to it. It's levels to it. So for certain levels, yeah, you can do stuff like that. But there's certain hoods that we know, if we're speaking reality, you can reach back and you can get bit. Like there's certain hoods that ain't ready for all that kind of stuff. And it's a shame to say, but you got people that have been around in them hoods for 30, 40, 50 years, and you come back looking like you trying to change things. Like some people, it's just not accepting of it. More people are than not, but some people aren't. Yeah. What have you learned?
Oh, I have a great lesson for you guys today. So do you know where is the quietest place on earth?
North Pole, some shit like that.
Okay. No, it's actually in Minnesota. Do you know how long someone can okay, let me just give you some insight first. It's actually a laboratory, so it's not. It's a man-made place.
So it's controlled quietness.
But it's still the quietest place. It's called Orfield Laboratories in Minnesota, and they have an anechoic, so no sound, an anechoic chamber that's so quiet. Guess what is the longest amount of time someone has been able to stay in there?
How long?
45 minutes. It's so quiet that no one has been able to stay in there for longer than 45 minutes. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records as officially the quietest place on earth. The sound, the background noise in the chamber, it's negative decibels. So decibels, for those of you who may not know,
just like outside sound.
It measures sound. So something can be 1 decibel if it's quiet. Something can be like 20 decibels if it's loud.
And it could be you could be in a quiet room, and the door can be making noise, and you not like little subtle noises that your brain picks up as noise, along with the light bulb humming. Like your hearing will tone into shit like that when it's quiet. Like your ears will focus in on the white noise around you.
Right.
And she's saying that doesn't even have that.
It's minus 9.4 decibels.
Yeah. So in that room like that, you can't even hear the light bulb or the walls cracking or something like that.
So listen to this. They challenge people to sit in there in the dark. There's only one person that has ever stayed for 45 minutes. So the science behind it, when it's quiet, your ears adapt. The quieter the room, the more things you hear. Like he said, you'll hear things that you would be thinking, damn, I never heard the light bulb buzzing. But when it's super quiet, you can hear it. You'll hear your heart beating. Sometimes you can hear your lungs. You'll hear, when it's quiet, you hear your stomach growling at night. And in this anechoic chamber, you become the sound. Companies use this chamber, like Harley Davidson tested their bikes, Whirlpool tested their washing machine. Listen to this. The chamber is so quiet and dark that it's disorienting. If you stay in there too long, you start to hallucinate. You also have to be sitting down when you're in the inside. And this is the science behind that. How you orient yourself is through sounds you hear when you walk. So that's how you know how to move and all that when you're walking down the street is based on sounds. Well, in here, there is no sound. So in this chamber, you don't have any cues. So you take away those perceptual cues that'll tell you, to stand to one side or another, which will cause you to lose balance. So that's why you have to sit down inside of there. So I just thought that was very interesting to think when I was thinking about this because I was thinking about monks and just how they're quiet, and that just kind of led me down a wormhole about quiet. So that was what I learned. I thought that was very interesting.
I've learned something much not intelligent as that. In the city now, in bodegas, as we were talking about earlier, they make chi-chis.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if everybody out there know what a chi-chi is. I'm sure you probably heard somebody in your family say chi-chi before. But a chi-chi is a oodles and noodles meal you make in jail with cheese curls and Doritos and summer sausage. And they sell these in Philadelphia bodegas for $8. They will crack open a can of noodles, a cup of noodles, crush up some cheese curls and Doritos, and cut up some summer sausage and give it to you for $8. And I'm just learned about this yesterday, and it's like, who the fuck would eat that if you're home?
I was just about to say, I would think if you're not in jail, you don't want anything that reminds you of jail.
But obviously they're selling them, and that just goes to show you the mentality that people keep when they come home on the street is still of the jail mentality, where I'm locked away and I'm trying to combine ingredients to eat something that tastes somewhat good. I get it, because in the chow hall is bad uncooked food. So I'm trying to create some concoction of ingredients that I'm used to that's going to make somewhat of a good meal. But when I'm home,
You actually have access to good food.
Access to all ingredients and good food. Why would I go to a corner store and buy an $8 Chi-Chi?
And not only that, even if you wanted a Chi-Chi, why would you buy one for $8 when you can buy a cup of noodles for what, $1, a bag of chips for $1? Summer sausage, that's like those little
the red ones that sit in the water.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about $3 of stuff that you can make yourself, and you gonna pay $8 that, and what, stand on the corner and eat it?
It's just wild to me and it's got to be somebody that has been to jail who's making these things. It's just weird that people on the street would want to eat something that people eat in jail. Yeah. It's just that I can't even comprehend that. 3 grams. San Francisco approves robots to kill people in emergencies.
Kill people?
Yeah, they would have robots now in San Francisco for like high intensity crimes, like North Hollywood shootings and shit like that. They'll send robots in. And like the shooting that happened in North Hollywood, something similar to that, they would send a robot in. And they passed a law. I think they was talking about it last week, but yesterday the law passed where not necessarily a law, but the police in San Francisco have okayed it, or the governor or whoever okayed it for them to use robots to kill in emergencies.
So the first thought that popped in my head was like, you know how if there's a bomb scare and they send a robot in there. So is this like
there's
a robot that looks like a person?
Or if they're outgunned, if they're being shot at with a goddamn banana clip rifle and they got handguns, you can send a robot in to kill.
The robot's going to explode. How is it going to kill them?
The robot can be the robot can have a gun on it too and be like a GPS system with a computerized, like it can aim, it can get you with a fucking scope, like it can do all that.
It made me think of when on Breaking Bad when he programmed the car to kill.
But he actually made that with his hands. So imagine if it was real technology behind it. Like he made that shit out of washers and bolts.
From a police perspective, I mean, if my loved one was a police officer and to think that they would no longer have to go into these places, and also you got to think now it wouldn't be any cases of an accidental shooting in those scenarios because it has to be very intentional that you send this, like, you're sending this robot in there to kill people. It ain't like, the cops went in there and he made a mistake and shot the wrong person. So you're saying
if you see the robot, somebody's dying.
Yeah. And
so if the robot comes out, don't even cry about who got killed because they sent the robot.
Yeah, they sent the robot. And the police can't say, it was a mistake, we didn't mean to, because that robot is only used for that purpose.
Right.
That's, this world.
Yeah, I was ready to say, where are we at now where robots are killing humans? Yeah. Like, that's allowed.
It's
in states in America, robots can kill human beings for doing bad shit.
Yeah. And it's still the I'm sure there would be one officer that's controlling it. So yeah, I wonder will they start implementing, if they haven't already, implementing that in military.
I'm sure it's in military.
Yeah, they just didn't tell us.
Blow up and take drones and have guns on them. Lil Duval said something that made sense today, and I want to just see, do stores like Balenciaga, Gucci, and Tommy Hilfiger have used black people to build their brands, and then they do something racist to stop us from buying it after it gets to a certain point? Tommy Hilfiger did it first, Gucci did it second, Balenciaga just did it. Do you think that's plausible? Do you think that's...
What did Balenciaga do that was racist?
They had some child porn shit or something.
Yeah, but it was white kids.
Okay.
So I don't think they I don't think they do anything. My opinion, I don't think they do anything to stop us because I don't want to say they don't care about color. They care about the color green. I think what happens in those cases
when everybody was buying all that Gucci and then all of a sudden a Gucci sweatshirt comes out with a monkey on it with big red lips, you don't think that's... No,
this is what I'm going to say. I think what happens is their true colors start to show. That's already been in them. And it's sort of like a Freudian slip where they're so colorblind to the realities of Black people and to our history and to the things that hurt us because they don't care to know, they don't care to learn, they just want our money, then something like that happens because they're like, why are you offended by a Black face with like?
But I also think it's plausible for them to say these are the biggest consumers on the planet. Black folks and their money, they buy shit. So if they're buying Balenciaga and Gucci like crazy, go ahead, let them buy it the fuck up. They just bought $100 million worth of it, and then like you said, here comes their Freudian slip of a monkey on the shirt. I think they know who's buying their clothes. I think they know the demographic of these cities and who's shopping at these Gucci stores and buying Balenciaga, and it's Black folks.
No,
so
I think they know who's buying
when they
it.
slip something out. Not necessarily Balenciaga, but when Gucci slips something out that's racist, I don't think it's such a Freudian slip. It's like, okay, do we want to stop them from wearing it for a moment, or is it getting too much?
I don't think that they think that it's racist. I think that's the thing.
Okay.
Because I think they're so oblivious to our plight, to our history. I think they're so oblivious that okay, this is another thing too. This just made me think about this, and I don't want to like add an extra gram, but you think about these fashion houses who are based out of Europe, right? And we know the European people, their history, a lot of them are just oblivious about Black people in general, let alone Black Americans. There was a story about a Black lady, not sure what her title is. She went to the Buckingham Palace with, those people, Prince Charles or whatever. This lady was there who was asking her where was she from. And this story was just out. She was asking her, and she was saying, oh, the company she was from. And she said, no, where are your people from? And she's like, oh, I'm from Britain. And she's like, no, like originally, where are your people from in Africa? She was like, I don't know, because to her, she's Black, but she was born and raised. And the lady's like, no, like what, like where are you from? Where are your roots from? Where's your family? And she's just thinking she's asking this person questions, has no idea how offensive it is for you. I'm telling you, I am Black. I am a British national. I was born here. And she said, my parents came here in the 50s. Like she's like, oh, your family's from the Caribbean. She's like, no, I'm telling you, I am. And the lady was just, so I say that to say, when you think about, again, these fashion houses, Balenciaga, Gucci, whomever. Now, Tommy Hilfiger is a little different because he is American, but you think about, again, some white Americans, they're just oblivious. So I don't even think they look at it as...
the woman was trying to get at, like, where did your parents come from? So I know your parents came here in the 50s, and you've been here for that long.
And she was telling her, but she was saying to her...
But do you know where your parents came from?
But she was like, no. But why are you just randomly
No, I
asking
understand. I understand it's offensive. I'm just saying that lady, like you were playing devil's advocate. She might have not been thinking I'm being so offensive. Because I'm just trying to get to the clarification of I'm asking, where are you from? Where are your people from?
Right.
Which is like, my parents came here in the 50s. Okay, where did your parents come from? Did they immigrate here? Where did they come from? Like, that's what I'm asking. And I know it comes off shitty and offensive, but I don't know that. I'm absent-minded.
But that's just like you could be standing in ShopRite as a Black man and a white person.
And it also hurts because you don't know. It also hurts because you don't know.
But you're like, where are you from? And you're like, oh, I'm from Philly. But no, like, where's your family from?
I know exactly what they mean.
What the hell?
But again, it hurts because, and it's offensive because it's not as offensive if somebody walking up to me saying, can I touch your hair? That's more offensive than you asking where I'm from. Because you generally might not know how offensive you're being, or because I don't know, it stings a little bit. I can't tell you, but my people are from Ghana or some shit like that. I don't know. So it's kind of offensive, but, I would be more offensive if you walked up and said, damn, your locks are good. Can I touch them? It'd be like, fuck no, you can't touch my hair. Like, I'd be more offended by that.
But going back to what you said about the blackface, and so I don't think their goal, and another thing too, they know that these things blow over. Ain't nobody stop spending money on Gucci. It just
seems like it's plausible because people bought Gucci for so long and they know that Black people were buying it, and then here comes a sweatshirt. Or Balenciaga does, people been buying that shit up, and then they do something weird where it halts people from buying it for a while. And then you slowly get back into the Gucci, slowly get back into the Balenciaga or whatever. Tommy Hilfiger did it, and nobody ever got back into Tommy Hilfiger.
That is true. Tommy Hilfiger lost his
Everybody
swag.
wore that until he said he didn't want black people wearing his clothes. And then nobody wore it again, ever. It became like corny.
But was it because of that, or did it just... Because you think about, like, Nautica...
No, everybody wore Tommy Hilfiger until he said, I don't want black people
No,
wearing
I
clothes.
agree, but I'm saying around that same time, you think about the other brands. Was that what do you think it was because of that, or did it just fade out like other brands?
No,
you think it was directly correlated?
Yeah, because I think Tommy Hilfiger and Polo were kind of neck and neck. Hilfiger
Polo
had nice clothes.
Yeah.
Hilfiger had nice clothes. They had some weird shit and big writing on it and stuff that you didn't want. But Polo also had giant fucking horses and shit like that. So, I mean, yeah,
you know
I think
who
it's
else it
because he
was
said
rumors
that.
of saying that, and I don't know, Timberland. But people ain't slowed down on Timberland.
Last Graham, the word of the year. It's a new word. And last year's word was vaccine, obviously, because it was the most searched word, most looked up word because of
vaccine.
Because of COVID.
Because of what?
COVID. So this year's new word is gaslighting. To grossly mislead someone for your own advantage. Isn't that just manipulation? Like, why does it have to be some sort of dumbed down urban word to mean the same thing?
Is it urban?
Gaslighting? I don't think. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it's urban. It's a
more
lot
like
of people use it.
Like one of those. I don't want to say that.
It's a national slang. It's not just black people slang.
No, right. So I was thinking like one of those like I don't want to say mental health, but like one of those words that are used in that realm of like therapy and stuff like that.
It's different language.
Yeah.
It's therapy language to say like a person is gaslighting. But it's like the definitions are close. You're just misleading somebody to your advantage. Like, I don't understand why you got to put gaslighting.
Like, why did a different... Yeah, gaslighting. You're lighting them up with gas. You're gassing them up. Yeah, I don't even get the correlation between the two words, but...
Or why it should just now all of a sudden be a compound word.
He's a manipulator. He's a gaslighter.
Like, yeah, it just means you're manipulating.
Yeah, I don't even hear people say he's a gaslighter. They say he's gaslighting.
Young people say cap. It's all the same shit. Young people say no cap, or he capping. That just means you manipulating, you talking shit.
Can I add a one more Graham of something that I read? And I meant to tell you. I'll say this real fast. In South Korea, people are so addicted to their phones, they are starting to put traffic lights on the curb. So, you walk up to a corner and they have, in the ground LED lights or something, where around the curb because people are study like this, and to avoid people from getting hit by cars or delaying traffic because they're not looking up to see that the light changed. That is so sad. They're so sad. And it makes me think, I seen like this meme that shows evolution over time and what people will look like years from now, and it was like this lady whose neck was all bent up from always having people's heads in their phones.
Let's do a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 99 coming to a close.
99.
International Walk.
Your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest. I always forget, do I say my whole title there or just my name?
That's what the pregnant pause is about.
Yeah, okay.
Your boy International Walk.
Your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
Act 2 the podcast, episode 99. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.